issue. It's all just kind of subjective on how they feel. You know, I mean, it gets so day to day, and any kind of setback could prolong it. So we just gotta kind of see how he feels, you know, every day before we get going.
Is he having an MRI?
Yeah, they were working through all that stuff later today, or they might. Some of those guys might still be there.
Quinnen too, I assume.
Yeah, Quinnen came out of it with an ankle sprain. It's just going to be kind of, you know, when you see him, I think they had him in a boot, and I mean he's walking around in the boot fairly well, which normally you see the guy with a little bit of a hobble. You know, it's just kind of going to see how it plays out.
Adam, when you watch next.
What's that?
Adam, when you watch the offense on film, what stood out to you? You know, what were the biggest problems you guys had offensively?
Just missed opportunity. Missed opportunity on the down the field throws. You know, the details of a lot of the route stuff. Some of the stuff that we were reading, and we made some mistakes, and they were fatal for us. You know, we couldn't take advantage of the opportunities we had, and if we would have had a different outcome. But that's every game.
Adam, when you look at the offensive line yesterday, how much of that played into maybe the ineffectiveness of the game plan and what happened offensively?
I would say that some of it was the O-line, but you know, I would say if we read the coverages correctly with the receivers, some of that isn't a problem.
Adam, will you bring in kickers to evaluate tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later today. That's a good thing about having this conference call at 2:40 is we have our meeting at 4.
What's your confidence level in your current kicker?
I'm always going to have confidence of the, you know, any kicker that we have in here. I mean, that's what personnel guys get hired to do. They get hired to make those type of decisions. My job is to do everything I can to help the guys that we have on the roster.
Adam, the personnel guys you have now weren't around during free agency. However, you were. Do you regret not bringing back Myers?
That was a long time ago. I don't even remember what the discussion was.
You don't remember if you wanted him back?
I mean, I might remember. I just don't want to tell you.
It's been reported earlier today, Adam, that you are having kicking tryouts tomorrow with some free agent kickers. Are you saying that's not accurate, or?
I'm saying that I haven't had discussions with Joe and those guys yet, so that doesn't mean that they haven't started getting the ball rolling on that.
Adam, do you take any accountability for the current kicking situation?
Do I?
Yes.
I'm not talking about what happened in the past. It's irrelevant.
I'm talking about the current kicking situation. You've had 3 kickers this offseason.
Right.
Do you take accountability for the current situation?
Sure. What do you want me to do? We haven't performed well. We're going to try to figure out a way to fix it. That's what it is.
Adam, you said last week that you kind of learn about the team when it goes through adversity. Are you curious how your team responds to yesterday's loss?
No, because I kind of see the look in these guys' eye, the way that they felt after the game, the way they came in here today, the way they've been working so far today with as far as their run and lift and their meetings. You know, that one stung everybody. I mean, anytime that you lose a close game like that, it hurts. I like the way that these guys came in here today and have been working. So, you know, it's going to be about getting really back to the 0-0 point and getting ready for the next one.
Adam, what were your takeaways on Sam yesterday?
It was better than what I initially thought. There was a lot of good stuff. He had some, you know, there was a couple things that I wish that we would have done different at the end of the half. You know, there was one play where he probably could have saved me on the play call. There was a lot of stuff where he tried to stay in there and really take the shot. as far as, the D lineman was like driving down on him, and he's trying to hang in there and make the throw, which, he was trying to fix kind of some of the mistakes that we were making. There was a few things that we just got to correct there, kind of in the back of the third quarter, early fourth quarter. But for the most part, he did a lot of really good things. We just got to clean a few things up, which is to be expected, especially first time out against that defense. But it was. I was encouraged after watching the film. It felt different during the game, and after going back and watching it, I feel a lot better about how he performed.
Adam, I think he averaged something like Adam. I think he averaged something like 5.4 yards through the air, something like that. Was one of the reasons you guys didn't stretch the field more because of some of the struggles the offensive line had? I think he took like 9 hits and 4 sacks or so.
Yeah, if we just make plays on the balls that we actually threw down the field, that's a different number. We had opportunities. We had a chance to win the game. We got to come out of our double move. The guy falls down, and we don't come out running. So if we do that, then all of a sudden we're scoring a touchdown. So guys need to do a better job of executing what they're supposed to be doing.
Adam, on the last play before the 2-minute warning in regulation, the one that was underthrown to Robbie, it was a bang play. At any point did you?
No, that wasn't. There was no point. The guy hit the ball. We saw the replays. We got a lot of people looking at it during the game. If I would have thrown my challenge flag, then I would have wasted a timeout.
Adam, after the game, Jamal said that he thought the defense, kind of their energy fell apart and that they weren't playing team ball down the stretch. Is that at all concerning, just considering how energy has kind of been the mantra all offseason for this team, to kind of see it go wrong in week 1 when things got tough?
No, we didn't handle the fact that we lost our middle linebacker very well. And that was something that we addressed today. And basically, we need to understand that when we lose somebody, the next guy has to step up. We can't have any loss of energy. We can't have any we can't lose our mind. Like, it's one of those things where it's easier said than done, but we have to understand that's what we have to do. That's our job.
Adam, why wasn't Montgomery more involved? He obviously played a fairly big role, at least from what we saw this summer. He only had 5 snaps.
Yeah, that's my decision.
Is he going to be an important part of your team moving forward?
We'll see. Everything's week to week. It's how I feel during the play calling. If I feel like that we need to be in those certain personnel groupings, then I'll do it. If I don't, that's the beauty part of being the head coach. I can basically do what I want.
Yesterday you alluded to this after the game about maybe giving the players too much information going into the game. Could you elaborate on that?
Wait, say it again.
No, remember after the game yesterday, you made a passing reference that said maybe you gave the players too much. You maybe overloaded them in terms of information going into the game. I wonder if you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, sometimes I think what happens is we play a team that I have experience going against, Sean quite a bit. It's kind of that game of chicken of like, I know kind of deal. And I feel like there was a few situations in the game where maybe I was worried that did I overload some of those guys. After going back and watching some of it, I was happy with how Sam did a lot of the stuff. I was disappointed in kind of how our wideouts handled a few things. So it just kind of at the time it made me feel like, man, did I put too much on their plate? Did I slow them down? Were they thinking too much? So it's just, I feel like that's one of those things that you're always just going to be looking at. After the game, sometimes it feels completely different than when you go back and rewatch everything. So, going back and thinking about it, after watching it, I don't feel as I did when I was in that moment. Right now I feel like it was okay. Some of the mistakes we make are very correctable, and I just wish that we would have made those plays. I feel like we could have had a different outcome. Take a couple more.
Adam, what did you see from the offensive line yesterday, and what's your comfort level with them as they're kind of starting to gel together and playing together a bit more?
I felt like we got a little sloppy, and what I mean by that is we were almost too aggressive. We were trying to be violent. We were trying we were trying to impose our will. I think it got us every once in a while where it was like we tried to be so aggressive, we miss, and then we get a free runner on Sam, and just things like that. Some of the fronts they were running, we didn't do a good job of handling some of the movement. Which, when you start putting that stuff on tape, it just keeps kind of avalanching as far as the next team does it than the next team. So you got to do a good job of correcting those type of mistakes. I feel like we will be able to do that as we go. There's just some very correctable things that occurred in this game, especially with the offensive line.
Adam, you mentioned that
your cornerbacks performed yesterday. Corner.
I feel like we have a slight room for improvement. I'll say that nicely.
Take one more.
Adam, you mentioned earlier that the defense needs to do a better job of not kind of falling apart when TJ goes out. Was the issue that the other guys on defense kind of lost their way when he wasn't in there, or was it with the guys filling in for him in the middle there that weren't kind of up to the task?
No, I thought Neville did a hell of a job. I feel like everybody else. It's just a collective effort. It's just like, just do your job. That's the key. When we hit the fourth quarter, when we hit nut cutting time, when it's the time where things are really getting tough, when it's getting really hairy, the best players don't change. The players that make an impact in the fourth quarter, they don't change. Everyone else does. That guy plays the same in the fourth quarter as he does in the first quarter. The guys that panic and play different in the fourth quarter, that's the things that we got to clean up. We have to get it to where we play the fourth quarter the same as we play the first quarter.